Morning, everybody. Hope you're all well. Welcome to the latest Pro Manchester event. We'll be starting shortly. Just going to wait for a few more people that are coming in through the waiting room now. Hope you're all doing well today. And you've come ready to enjoy this session, and you've come on with a brew. Regular attendees to Pro Manchester member events will know that I, for no reason at all, like to tell you what the weather is like in Chorley, Lancashire. So today is a cold but very sunny day. It has been sort of snowing on and off for the last couple of days, but it is nice and fresh. Morning, those that are just coming in now. We will be starting shortly. Okay, so it's 10:01. I'll make a start. We'll have some more people joining us, a couple of stragglers. But good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining today's session. I am Sean Gibb, the Events and Marketing Manager here at Pro Manchester, and I'm delighted to welcome you to bridge the gap between sales and marketing and find better quality clients. This is hosted by Lee Alley and Mike Pye, co-founders and directors of E5 Interactive. Following today's session, I'll send out a post-event email, which will contain any post-event collateral, links to where you can find out about other Pro Manchester events and our Pro Manchester YouTube channel, where you can check out some other webinars that you may have missed, or take a second look. Hit the subscribe button while you're in there to stay up to date. The email will also contain our feedback form. If you could please fill this in, it really is helpful to us to continue to improve our offerings and provide consistently great content. I know that Lee and Mike are going to also provide some other bits of content as well for that email, so look out for that. Just a couple of points of housekeeping. Please be aware that this webinar is being recorded. If you could all please keep your microphones on mute for the time being, and feel free to use the chat function to ask questions, make any comments, observations, and Lee and Mike will pick those up and answer them throughout. So you don't need to save them till the end. Start typing away. So anyway, without further ado, I will hand you over to Lee.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to our session today. We hope that you find it of use and pick up some nuggets of information that you can go and take away and implement in your businesses. Just to give you a bit of background about myself, I've been in sales and marketing for the past 30 years. Currently, I have two businesses, one which is working with companies that go to international trade shows, obviously of which there are none, being impacted by COVID. Obviously I'm the co-founder and director of E5 Interactive. So I've been very passionate and I've been very lucky over the past 30 years to be working with such a diverse range of clients and different industries as well. And one of the best things that I've found is the psychology of business, actually understanding why businesses and customers actually come together and look at the customer journeys. And I've been lucky enough to be working with a number of clients worldwide. So I'm also a business mentor and advisor for the Business Growth Hub, helping small to medium-sized enterprises to help them with their sales and marketing growth. And that's me. I'd like to introduce you to Mike, who can tell you a bit more about himself.
Morning, everyone. Thanks so much for coming. Great to see such a great turnout this morning. So just a real quick introduction to myself. I'm a marketeer by trade. Again, I've also got two businesses. My first business is a marketing consultancy and strategy business, which is now in its 6th year. And the second business is working closely with Lee, who is actually a former and current client of my consultancy business, but we've come together to create this business together, which is really exciting. So my background is specifically really within professional services. I led on strategy in-house for a number of years for a couple of consultancy and professional service businesses, and then my current consultancy business deals predominantly with service-based and consultancy-based businesses, those businesses that have a real core skill set, that are offering that skill set to a specific market. That could be HR, accountancy, legal, recruitment, IT, all sorts of like more complex service-based businesses. And they all kind of struggle with common challenges, and that is differentiating against a lot of other businesses that offer a very, very similar thing. Trying to deliver and demonstrate their value, to make sure that they're billing accordingly and generating enough leads. And those are kind of the common challenges that we face, and the same that a lot of Lee's clients face. And that's kind of how we came together for this business and why we're putting on the session today.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Mike. Throughout the presentation, we will be setting some challenges. So if you get a chance, grab a pen and a piece of paper, because you will need them. It is a very interactive session. We will be giving you some really good exercises. And over the next 40 minutes, what we'll be talking about is obviously what makes a quality client. What kind of clients do we really want as a business to feel good in terms of delivering our services. Then we're obviously going to look at some of the sales and marketing challenges that all professional service businesses face. We're going to look at obviously why engagement is very important in your sales and marketing process. And then we're going to introduce you to the power of assessment-based marketing and what it can actually do for your business in terms of helping you find those better quality clients. So we're going to start off with a couple of poll questions. Mike, if you want to take those away.
Yeah, sure. So I'm just going to launch this poll. So the first thing we'd just like to get your feedback on is how you are all currently generating new leads for your business. And there's a few different options here. Just good to understand where you're at within your business. It could be a mixture of all of them, or it could be a couple specifically. So I'll just give you a couple of seconds just to fill in this quick poll.
Oh, seems like a good mix there. It's like Eurovision all over again.
Just a couple more of you to complete, and then I'll share the results.
Okay. Seems like downloadable content is on 0 at the moment.
Yeah, so I'll just share those with you. So this is kind of, I think, what I currently see with a lot of clients that we work with. A lot of clients are doing stuff on social media. That might just be sharing content or trying to engage with prospects directly through LinkedIn and cold outreach through LinkedIn, relying on people coming to your website and filling in contact forms, maybe a lot of activity through Google Ads or SEO or other paid marketing, and then running webinars and events, which is great to kind of get across some really valuable information and demonstrate some expertise. But a couple of areas where it's really lacking is interactive content, I think you can see here. So downloadable content and interactive tools and games, things where people can go and actually get some real value from you very quickly, but also interact with you and connect with you as a business and start having some sort of relationship with you. They seem to be areas that are lacking. I think that's probably what we see quite a lot, isn't it, Lee?
Yeah. That's very interesting reading, actually. And I think, I mean, from, being a professional service business ourselves and looking at the traditional model, obviously what's scored very high here is referrals. I think that is quite pertinent in terms of, how professional service-based businesses go out and get business, and it is a lot of them do rely on referrals, and obviously this kind of backs that theory up.
Yeah, definitely. And that can be a real benefit and a real value, but it can also be a bit of a curse because you can't always rely on referrals, and you can't always rely on those referrals being quality either, which can result in wasted time. I'm going to launch another quick poll just on the back of that one. So this one is all around how you connect with the leads that you generate, really. So after that first contact, whether that be an introduction or whether it be a contact form on your website, how many of those leads kind of fall away quite quickly or fail to convert?
This is looking interesting. So up to 50%, I think that's scoring very highly at the moment. Yeah, I think that's
it's quite telling, and again, it's quite consistent. I think in that the majority of people are losing quite a high number of leads, whether that be sort of between 26 and 75% of all leads. So that equates to a lot of wasted time, and there's often common reasons behind that, which is a lot of what we're going to be talking about today.
Good stuff. Yeah, that is kind of very thought-provoking, that in terms of how 61%, up to 61% are lost between the 26 to 50% of leads. So yeah, all right, brilliant. Thanks very much, Mike. Moving on to just move the screen in front of me. Yeah, okay. So let's ask the question, what makes a quality client? We're all looking for them. We're all looking for people who are interested in what we do, who can actually build a very good relationship with us. So just in your chat boxes, what I would like to do is get your thoughts on, what makes a real quality client for you guys out there. I mean, what kind of attributes are you looking for in a quality client? So if you could just take put your thoughts in the chat function. So Sharon here says, somebody who can match my avatar. So yeah, if you share some of those ideas in terms of what makes a really good quality client. Is it that they actually value what you do? It could be someone who obviously is qualified to make the decisions for you when you go and approach them. So Jill says somebody who is consistent with their engagement and enjoys the uptake of our product, and they create an enjoyable two-way relationship. Anyone else? Please keep coming those. So this is a question that all marketers ask is when they look at the marketing, is what kind of clients, what are the ideal clients that we're actually looking for? And Claire has just come in, who says somebody who actually wants to work in a partnership. Okay, and I mean that is very, very important. You actually want a two-way dialogue with your customers, and that makes a really quality relationship. And John Main says obviously having a consistent and clear communication between both parties. So I think we've got what we're talking about here is we want a two-way relationship with our clients. And then we've got more coming in. So I think some of you were quite shy at the beginning, so there's quite a few coming through now. So and then obviously James has put values, professional input, and somebody who appreciates the expertise, delivered and willing to pay, someone willing to make a long-standing commitment from Kate, and someone who values our services and good financial scope from Hugh Jones. So yeah, that's brilliant, guys. Thanks very much for your input there. So what I want to talk about is the mindset and how do we actually create that consistent communication and looking at the mindset. So sellers and buyers, okay, how do they actually think when they actually approach each other when it comes to starting the engagement? So looking at the mindset of the seller's perspective, okay, what we're looking for as a professional service-based business is in the prospect to customer journey, we're looking for obviously to grab attention. We want to arouse curiosity so that we can actually get the time from our prospects so that we can actually build trust. And once we've actually built that trust, we can actually start talking about money. And then once we've got that money, we can then start talking about building a long-term relationship, which is building a commitment from both sides to working with each other. From a buyer's perspective, what they're looking for when they start the relationship, or at the start of the day when they're looking for a new vendor or a supplier, there's only two reasons what they're looking for. One is to avoid the pain. They might be doing a transaction, whether it's through, going through a divorce, whether it's looking to save money with the taxman, or they don't want to be sued by the taxman, or they're looking to, they have an aspiration to actually achieve a goal in their business. They may want to improve something within their business. They may want to improve their HR processes, their contracts. So it's really a question of understanding where your business actually lies in that process. Are you helping your customers to avoid pain, or are you helping them to aspire to achieve their aspirations? So this is where your marketing journey actually starts, is whether, as a professional service business, is to actually understand, what are you actually trying to achieve for your clients? So once you actually understand that, and once you actually communicate to your buyers that this is what you can actually, you understand their pains, you understand their aspirations, then obviously you get to gain some trust from them. And once you've gained some trust, what buyers are looking for, so that they've understood, obviously, how to help them to avoid pain. You've got their trust, okay, understanding that you are the right person to actually help them overcome those challenges. Then obviously what you need to do is look at the value that we're looking at as buyers. We're always looking for value for money, okay, in terms of making sure that the service that we're providing is going to provide some value, okay. And then on the other side, we're also, as buyers, we're also looking to be valued as customers, okay. And there was a story yesterday. There was a law firm in London, and it kind of struck a chord, really. And it's a company called Summerfield Blaze, I think it was, on BBC News, where a buyer went to them. He paid £200 for an assessment of his problems, and he thought that he didn't actually get value for the £200 he spent, and the advice that he got wasn't worth the £200. And he actually wrote them a review on Trustpilot, and what happened was the law firm actually sued him for leaving a negative review. And what actually happened was the court found in favor of the company, of the law firm, and he's ended up £25,000 out of pocket. So that, for me, is the breakdown of trust. Okay, and if you look, what I've highlighted here is that to have a good quality client relationship, we both need trust, and trust runs both ways. And once we've actually made that transaction, what the buyer is looking for ultimately is peace of mind, knowing that they have the right supplier, that they have value for money, and they have trust that that buyer, that seller, sorry, will actually be able to deliver what you've actually paid for as a buyer. So it's very, very important as businesses that we look at how we're thinking and how we can actually adapt and look at the buyer's mindset and actually adapt our marketing and sales processes to adapt to the buyer's mindset in terms of what they're actually going through when they look through the buyer's journey. So, so just moving on to looking at professional service-based businesses. Mike, do you want to talk us through, obviously you've had a lot of experience over the past few years working with professional service-based firms. Do you want to talk us through some of the challenges that you've seen that they've actually gone through?
Yeah, so following on from Lee's discussion about buyers and sellers' behaviour, these are kind of the three common areas that we've found really difficult for a lot of service-based businesses, and the problems here kind of knock on to all of the challenges that Lee's just explained. So having enough quality leads to be able to convert, focusing on the right kind of prospects, and demonstrating value. I'll just talk through each of these. So lead generation is often tricky. A lot of businesses who are really focused on a core service delivery are often run by specialists themselves, who maybe have been delivering services to start with, maybe still do, maybe now employ others who are delivering for them, but they're not necessarily marketeers or salespeople historically, and they often rely, as we've discussed to start with, on referrals, on people finding them naturally, on recommendations, and they're kind of rely on the fact that people are going to come to them, and their business is focused on growing on the amount of people who know they exist and who refer them, and that makes growth very difficult if you've not got a strategic plan to go out and find the right kind of clients in volume. Then it becomes really difficult to create the pipeline that you need to be able to forecast the growth that you want to achieve and keep that continual conveyor belt of new clients coming in. And with that comes the right kind of clients as well. So it's not about just going out and finding any old leads and trying to convert them, because in a lot of the cases they might not have the right values that you stand for. Again, as we discussed within the chat to start with, people who weren't bought into you as a business, who didn't understand your value, who just wanted the cheapest product on the market or the cheapest service, and are therefore just scanning the market, trying to find anybody who can do something at the cheapest price. Or people that you actually really want to work with because you connect and you enjoy working with them and you have a great relationship. And that's what makes business fun, is when you've got those clients that you can kind of feed energy off each other, and have a really, really good relationship. So focusing on the wrong prospects, and having a marketing strategy that's actually bringing in a lot of the wrong prospects means that you're also wasting an awful lot of time and energy trying to convert people who aren't the right fit for you as a business. And then finally, linked to all of this is the demonstrating value aspect. So people are only willing to part with their money if they can understand that you can help them with the challenge that they're facing, and also that you're offering the most value compared to your competitors. And the only way to really increase the volume of clients that you're actually converting, and the quality of the clients you're converting in terms of the prices that they're willing to pay, is by demonstrating more value than your competitors. If prospects can see that you're offering something way over and above, that you're committing to them incredibly, and that you understand them, you're offering something, a really, really close relationship where you really understand them and get them, and you can be part of their business, that's what's going to make them want to part with their money and pay more for your service than they would originally have done so. So taking them from more of a transactional relationship to a really committed relationship where they're bought into you and what value you can offer them as a business. And the way to do that is through content, essentially. Through what can you give to people to really set yourself apart, to help them understand what you do, how you do it, how you're going to help them, and how you really truly understand what challenges they face and can speak their language. And that's it takes quite a lot of energy and quite a lot of understanding, but it means that what you're putting out is really speaking to them, and it's really hitting home on their needs and pains. And it's going to be what sets you apart from the competition. So with that in mind, we've got a little activity which we'd just like you to spend just 5 minutes on. And this is just focused around what quality clients look like to you. So we just want you to list 3 factors that would make a prospect wrong for your business. What are those things that would make you run away from them? So we'll just give you 5 minutes now just to have a bit of a think about that. And then if anybody feels comfortable to share some of those with the group, that'd be really great to have a chat through some of those. While the delegates are just going through that activity, Lee, what's your experience of some of those common challenges as a long-term business owner?
Yeah, I think it's always kind of understanding, what people are actually looking for and what their perceptions are of our business. And a lot of the time, obviously I work in the exhibition business, and we get customers coming to us and actually aligning us with all of the other competitors, our competitors, and of thinking that they can actually get the same service from us, or we work exactly the same way as other exhibition service providers work. And it's and a lot of the time it's a misunderstanding, and when you actually explain to them how we work and tell them some of the parameters involved, what we need from them, then obviously that qualification process means that they fall by the wayside. And the biggest challenge that we always have is obviously with people not being able to afford what we do, then obviously not being able to deliver the service that they actually want. And I've always been very honest. And one of the challenges I find is that especially with some of my clients, is they end up saying yes because they're so desperate for business to come through the doors. Okay, they end up saying yes to projects that they have little time to do, or they've kind of overpromised. And then obviously, if they can't deliver that, then obviously that leads to some a bad relationship or a breakdown of trust, and what we talked about before. So, what in my business, what makes a prospect wrong is, obviously, if they're looking for services in a territory that I can't deliver in, they haven't got the right budget, or they want us to do stuff that doesn't actually align with our values. We provide, as part of one of our services, is providing very high level promotion staff. And if any of you remember, a few years ago, we had this huge moral issue with promotion staff, being scantily clad. Somebody did on a construction show, they had a booth where they had females dressed in Las Vegas dancing outfits, and that led to a huge uproar. And we've had this policy where we wouldn't even take that service up when a customer comes to us. Yes, we would love to do a promotion, but we have standards. And when we do the analysis of what the client is actually looking for, if they come across and say we want our promotion staff to be dressed in crazy outfits, then obviously we would actually say no, we can't do that. But how about creating something a bit more professional, and we would give them our professional expertise. And obviously, if they disagree with that, then obviously it means that we don't want them as a client. And I think that's very important for a business, is when you're doing the qualification process, is, you know, are the services that they want, do they actually align with your values, and would you feel happy, you know, delivering those services?
Yeah. Great. We've had some really nice comments from people that really align with my experience and what you've just been discussing as well. So
Yeah.
the common thread is that they're only fixated on price, or they've got budget limitations, or maybe they've got unrealistic expectations or deadlines. Some interesting comments from Sharon Seville. They're wrong for my business. They're focused on price. They don't see it as a partnership. And I think the final one is that they're not forthcoming with information that helps me help them. And that's a really important point. That's one thing that I often struggle with prospects that we work with in my consultancy business, is if they don't know what they want to achieve, or they're not helping me understand their business, then it's impossible for me to really be able to position my services effectively.
Yeah. Do you agree with the point that, do you think when customers come with us a need, that they don't always know what they actually need, and it's up to us to actually guide them?
Absolutely. I often have that common question from my business, where customers come to me and say, we just need to do some marketing, and I say, okay, what do you want to achieve? How many clients do you need? What kind of revenue are you expecting? What channels are you using? You know, what are your conversion rates like? They don't know the answer to any of those, and it's then very, very difficult. And it means that the relationship kicks off on a bad front, because if they don't know what they want to achieve, and they don't know who they're targeting properly, then marketing isn't going to work.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's quite important as well. I mean, when I start off that journey with a prospect, it's always trying to understand what their end game is, and then actually, you know, base the conversation around that, and give them my expertise in terms of, right, this is the goal that they want, but to get there, this is what they actually need to do. And as you know, professional service-based businesses, it's very important that we actually give them, you know, 2 or 3 options how they can actually achieve the end goal, because ultimately that's what they want, isn't it? They want to either avoid that pain, or they want to achieve something. So so I guess everyone's done that exercise. Is there anyone out there who would actually like to share some of those wrong type of clients? What would actually make a client wrong for them? It would be great if you could pop that in the chat.
We've had some interesting ones when it comes to understanding their challenges, being able to be really forthcoming with what issues they previously faced, what frustrates them generally about the process, really kind of digging into what good looks like effectively.
Yeah. Okay, so let's have a look. So we've got some good ones here. From Sharon, focus on price, don't see it as a partnership, not forthcoming with information. You've gone through that one, Mike. Jill says, constant restructuring and change of contact person. That's a good one, where they're always changing the goalposts as well, in terms of what they're looking for. And then obviously with, especially with larger clients, the constant change of, you know, the decision makers. And then Sharon said, what info do I need to qualify them better, what their drivers are, what issues they have previously faced, and what frustrates them about the process. Yeah, all good points. Excellent. So I hope that you found that exercise of value. So we just want to talk through some numbers. We've been doing some research in terms of the challenges that businesses face when it comes to lead engagement, and I'm just going to talk through some of these. We did the poll before, and this the first one kind of backs that up. Over 50% of prospects are not a good fit for what you actually sell. So you've got the lead and you go through the discovery phase and you ask the questions, and it ends up being that customer is not ideal. So there's a lot of time. 50% of your sales and marketing time is spent with dealing with people who are not a right fit, as Mike said before. 36% of businesses actually fail to close on those leads and take them to the next step in the sales process, or to actually close the business as a whole, from presenting them with a proposal to actually closing the deal. 75% of businesses have actually had a challenge with demonstrating their value, and 77% of businesses don't actually know how to actually use their time in terms of spending more time with their leads. And then on the other side, you've got salespeople. 72% of them, they don't know how to access market data or what market data is actually relevant for them in their sales process. And 42% of salespeople have challenges with actually conducting the needs analysis of a client. So, and then obviously you've got 37% of salespeople who don't know, who have challenge overcoming price objections, and then you've got over 42% who struggle to establish an urgency when it comes to the decision-making process. And 40%, which is quite glaring, 40% of businesses find prospecting their biggest challenge. How do they actually go out and actually find those quality clients? And these figures are kind of quite scary when you actually look at it, with all the time that we actually spend marketing and reaching out to customers, and we have all these wonderful conversations. But when you think about it, really, in statistics, they tell a really interesting story, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think these challenges are very common. I think within my own business, they're things that have historically been a big challenge, and something that I'm trying to get really, really better at, and improving the quality of the clients that we're bringing in. But these are very common across all of the clients that we work with. So with that in mind, I just want to skip through to be talking about how assessments can actually help and what assessments are used for. So we're all using assessments all the time in various different ways. It could be through direct conversations with clients, trying to talk them through the questions that we need to answer to be able to understand them properly. Or it could be questionnaires on their websites or surveys, all sorts of different things. But from a marketing and sales point of view, assessments can be incredibly powerful and incredibly interactive. So assessments, they can help your prospects actually find solutions to their challenges very quickly in a really interactive way, in a way that's very different to what a lot of other businesses are doing. So when thought of cleverly, you can create some really powerful surveys or questionnaires which enable your prospects to learn more about what you do, but also, more importantly, help you learn more about them and what their needs and challenges and aspirations are, to help you qualify them quicker. So they help you understand each prospect on a really deep level, and then be able to be really personalized with how you speak to those prospects afterwards. If you've got really detailed knowledge of who they are, what their business does, what challenges they're facing, and where they're kind of at in their journey in relation to the services that you deliver, it's incredibly powerful. So for my business, my consultancy business, I use assessments heavily before I speak to any potential client. It's on my website. It's something that gets sent to prospects when they first make contact with me. And it's a really detailed 40-question questionnaire, which helps me really quickly understand who they are, what they do, and what their challenges are. So my assessment takes prospects through a series of questions, which helps me really understand what their challenges are when it comes to marketing, their understanding of strategy, their understanding of where their business is going and what their expectations are, and their kind of knowledge of how marketing can play a part of that. Now that gives me a really valuable opportunity to be able to then guide the conversations I have with those people based on the answers that they provide. So I can really hit home on some of the challenges that they're experiencing straight away when I'm speaking to them, rather than having to kind of guide them through a very, very lengthy conversation to take them through to try and get the same information. And it will help me then qualify them much quicker, or be able to refer them to somebody else who may be more suited to help, so saving me time and making their experience much better. So assessments are really powerful for actually understanding each other, but they're also really powerful for helping demonstrate your value. So I've got a couple of examples here of how a couple of our clients are using assessments powerfully to do just that. So the first example here is a financial consultancy business called Helen Fleet. She's an independent financial consultant, a financial director. And Helen works with typically fast growth businesses that need guidance on their growth plans and how to structure and plan their financial strategy for growth. So she uses assessments really, really well to help those businesses understand the value that she offers, whilst also, in the same way that I described, understand their business as well. So what happens is she has an assessment on her website, and she's also sharing it through social media and through any conversation that she has with prospects. And they can go through and take a detailed questionnaire. And then once they complete that questionnaire, they receive a personalized PDF. And that PDF is 20 plus pages of really highly bespoke, tailored content direct to them based on their results. So they get a score in various different categories based on the questions that these provided, so they can quickly see where their strengths and weaknesses lie. And then throughout the PDF, there is detailed information, again bespoke directly to what their questions that they answered, guiding them through the process of what good looks like. So how can they be better when it comes to their strategic thinking, when it comes to cash flow management, all of those things, but it's using it based specifically on the data that they're provided, which means it's a great experience for the prospect. They're getting really highly valuable content, which is helping build trust in Helen's business, that also speaks directly to them. So you can see the kind of two-way relationship that's happening here. The business, Helen, is getting loads of valuable data about her prospects, but the prospects are getting some incredibly valuable information, which is helping demonstrate that trust and build a relationship in a really interactive way. The second example here is a completely different business called Delphinium. They're a coaching and performance business. They do mentoring, they do professional coaching, they do professional development and training. And again, they work with typically sort of fast growth and more corporate businesses, helping to build their teams and grow leadership within those businesses. So their assessment is called a leadership skills scorecard, and this is aimed at leaders within those businesses or people who want to become leaders in those businesses, to help assess where they're at in terms of their leadership skills. So again, they go through a series of questions and it scores them across 5 different categories of leadership. It scores them across their authenticity, their communication skills, various different topics. And again, it provides really bespoke content related to the questions they answer. And this is a 40-page document, again, full of really powerful content, fully branded, that gives them a really great experience. So I just want to talk quickly around how assessments can really help the customer journey. So this is quite a detailed little slide. So I'm just going to skip through it. But essentially, what happens when a customer has a challenge is that they go through some complex mindset thinking. They go from not knowing they have a problem at all and kind of happy with the status quo to suddenly realizing they've got a problem and they need to find a solution. And then their mind will go through various different stages. So they don't know they've got a problem, then they realize they've got a problem and they need to find a solution. They need to understand who to choose, why they need to choose you, why they need to invest and what they need to invest to achieve that. That's where demonstrating value is important, because they might be looking for price and then they realize actually their problem is much bigger, and they can then understand what they need to, how they need to invest, and whether they need to commit to a bigger relationship. They need to understand why it's going to be now and not in the future, so they can make that decision and create some urgency. They need to understand why they should actually pay for it if they can do it for free. They need to understand why they should sign up with you. And then once they're an actual customer, they need to understand why they should stay and why they should continue to work with you. So from a seller's perspective, from the beginning, they need to be able to disrupt a customer's way of thinking, to help them understand that they have got a problem and they do need a solution to it. They need to differentiate against all the competition. They need to justify their investment by demonstrating value. They need to help customers prioritize that decision making, to know that now is the time to fix it and not into the future. They need to protect that investment by really kind of demonstrating their expertise and reaffirming to the customer they need to pay for it and the value that they're going to get. And they need to guide people through that that sales process to help build trust and make it as efficient as possible. And that's where assessments can be really, really valuable, especially at this starting stage, because assessments mean that you can quickly demonstrate what you do and disrupt their thinking. They might be coming to you thinking they've got a specific challenge, but through that assessment process and through delivering that bespoke content, you can quite quickly help guide them through some of the wider challenges that they're facing and get them thinking about things in different ways. Start really kind of sparking some ideas in them as to what they should be really thinking about. Have they come to you just for a specific service, but then realize actually the problem is much bigger, and you can guide them through that process. It helps you really differentiate what you do. It helps you demonstrate your expertise through delivering loads of really powerful content, and it helps you justify why they should choose you over others, because a lot of businesses won't be going through this detailed process with their customers. They'll just be contact them, they'll give them a price, that's it, and there's no relationship. It's purely transactional. Through using assessments and having a really considered approach to the way that you have conversations with businesses, it means that you're starting a really powerful relationship from the get-go. I hope that makes sense to everyone. So on the back of that, we're just going to have a quick activity. So what I want to ask you to do now is think about some of those common challenges your customers face, because understanding those challenges means that you can then position some really powerful content around that to help you disrupt their thinking and help you demonstrate your expertise right from the beginning. So we're just going to give you a couple of minutes just to think about that before we move on. So while we're doing that, if anyone feels comfortable sharing some of those challenges in the chat, that would be great. Conscious of time, so I don't want to keep too much of your time, so we'll just keep this activity just a couple of minutes so that we can keep the time for you. Does anyone have anything they want to share? No problem. Well, for my business, common challenges that our clients face are actually, like I mentioned earlier, is actually knowing what they want to achieve, knowing who their target audience really is, knowing what makes them tick, knowing where to find them, and really knowing how to demonstrate that value. And I think that's pretty common for a lot of businesses. John Mains has just shared a lack of understanding and knowledge of our services. Leaving things way too late, and I think that's a challenge that a lot of your clients face, Lee. They'll come very late in the day for an exhibition.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, one of the biggest challenges we have is our ideal clients, what they do, they plan 3 to 6 months ahead for their exhibitions. But we get the last minute ones coming through where the exhibition is, let's say, on Friday, and today's Wednesday, and they'll ring up and saying, oh, we need some staff, or we need your help to, and it's near on impossible to pull all those stops out. We want to, but I know for a fact that every challenge that we've had at an event has been because we've actually took a booking at the last minute. So it's, and having experienced that over the years, I came to a realization that I will not take a booking now until at least I have at least 2 weeks notice. Otherwise, no last minute bookings. All right, good stuff. So I hope everyone found that of value. Again, just tying into some more research and how engagement tools help you differentiate. And according to research done by marketing companies out there, compared to static content, interactive content such as scorecards and interactive games generate twice as many conversions, and the reason for that, as Mike just explained, is what you're doing is you're demonstrating your value and creating that trust in that content that you actually give them. And also it's actually personalized to your prospect. Obviously, we spend a lot of time pushing social media, and that's all these messages are actually mass market, and we're hoping that somebody actually, resonates with them and then obviously interacts with us. But with assessments, what they're doing is you're actually personalizing that message to each individual person by the fact that you're actually scoring them, and they're actually seeing where their gaps are. So, and then obviously 45% of buyers said personalized content portals would help accelerate purchasing decisions, because that way everything is actually on paper. They actually understand what they need to do, and it's the output is from the answers that they've actually given themselves. So they realize that, that information is relevant to them. And then obviously 70% of B2B buyers prefer interactive content over static content anyway, because who wants to read, pages and pages of ebooks, which are kind of mass market? If you had a piece of content that was actually personal to you, obviously you would actually give it more attention. So next slide, Mike. So Mike, do you want to talk through how
sure.
I think you touched on it before, but if you want to just go through what a really good strategy of using an assessment looks like.
So I think one of the challenges that a lot of businesses face when it comes to any form of digital marketing or any tools or content that they produce, is they create something really great and then they stick it on their website and rely on people coming to find it, and then they're not having enough people coming to find it, and then they start to think that it doesn't work as a strategy. So I've seen that so many times with like ebooks or downloads or fantastic blog posts or videos. Businesses spend a lot of money and time and energy creating something, sticking it on the website, and then wonder why it's not working. And the reason that is because it's not getting out there. It's not being amplified across the right kind of people that they need to see it. But like I say, assessments are really, really powerful. They're great to use on your website. Mine is front and center on my consultancy business website. It's something that I encourage any prospect to do at the start of the journey. And it's a key call to action on my website, alongside booking a discovery call, because it's something which is going to give them loads of value. But we also use it across lots of other different ways. So getting it out across social media, it can perform loads of great content for use from an organic social media point of view, but also through paid. So if you know exactly who your target audience is, and you can present an assessment-based tool to them across Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads, or even Google ads, all sorts of different ways that you can use it to get it out to your market with some budget behind it. It's a great way to start just to kind of set yourself apart from all the other adverts that you see, which are just kind of informational buy our service kind of adverts. They're a great way to try and start connecting with people in a really interactive way and get people to actually click on those ads and take an action rather than just seeing them and it just being all about brand awareness and no actual return on investment. Events is really, really powerful. So we will use them at events all the time, whether that be live events, webinars, whether that be face-to-face meetings or consultancy sessions. We will use those assessments as part of them. It's a really nice, engaging way to get people taking action during those events. And then I think most importantly, new prospect meetings. So like I said, as soon as anybody makes contact with us, I ask them to go and take the assessment because again, it gives them a really great starting point in the relationship building. And it's not a case of just me going, I'm not speaking to you unless you fill in this assessment. It's positioned in a way which goes, this is going to really help you understand what your challenges are. Please just spend a couple of minutes taking this assessment. You're going to get some really great content. And it's also going to help me be able to talk to you in a way that's on your level, and it's going to help you really understand what your challenges are. So it's positioned in a way which is all about adding value, not about time saving, which I think is really, really important. But it's a great way to guide those meetings. So I had a couple of inquiries yesterday through our own assessment on my consultancy website, which was really interesting. It was somebody who actually referred to me, unbeknown to me. There's a recommendation, and they'd gone over the weekend to the website, they'd taken the assessment, I'd received it, and I got a real quick understanding of who they are. And then they followed up to me on the phone yesterday, actually talking about the content within the PDF that was sent and hitting home some of the questions that were raised within that, commenting on how they hadn't actually thought about particular areas and they need to give it a bit more thought and can we come in and have a chat with them, which was a fantastic result because it's actually done a lot of the work for me before I've even had a chance to speak to them and raise lots of questions within their minds. So it's just a quick overview of what I've just been explaining about how we use it from our consultancy business perspective across social media, across the website, and across all sorts of different areas. And I suppose, Lee, you can kind of talk about how that data can be used in a sales conversation.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think one of the key things you've mentioned there for me is that it's got to be an integrated approach across. You can't just rely on putting an assessment together and just putting it on the website. What you need to do is actually use it across all of your marketing and sales channels. So talking about using assessments in sales, back in the old days, we used to have, when I in my career, we used to get given a piece of paper saying, this is the name, this is the person who's actually called, and this is their telephone number, call them up, and that was the definition of a lead. Okay, and how assessments changes all of that is not only do you actually have the name and the telephone number and the business name and so on, but what you actually have is detailed information of what their challenges are. And when you actually sit down in front, or in these days, obviously sit over Zoom or Teams or something like that, what you've got then is the foundation of a conversation that you can actually dictate and actually share, get your prospect talking about some of those about those answers that they've actually given in more detail. So, and it's a great foundation to actually have that information handy already, that will actually help you guide the conversation to where you actually want it to go, whether it's in the form of a cost proposal or whether it's a demonstration that you're going to do. And what you have is, I think somebody mentioned before, understanding what their key drivers are. And that's exactly what assessments can actually do for a salesperson or a business person having that conversation is, you will actually know what their drivers are and what their key challenges are. So you can actually hone your conversation in and get straight to the point. And especially if your marketplace is, you're dealing with business owners, they have very limited time. Okay, It's not very often that they will actually give you, 45 minutes, 1 hour. They just want to get straight to the point. And if you have all of the information there handy, it actually allows you to understand what their challenges are, and you can actually guide them along in the right way. So, and what you'll have as well is a lot of data. Okay, so one of the brilliant things about assessments is that you can actually compare that person's results against the marketplace overall, in terms of see what other customers are doing in their marketplace and how they actually compare. And that's always good validation to have to back up your sales arguments as well. One more activity, the final activity that we have for you. Just get you to think along the lines of setting a challenge, for your prospects. If you could actually assess one thing to actually help you qualify prospects better, then what would that actually look like? Okay, so we want to look at when we set up scorecards. So we go with 3 of the templates that we have. So we would ask, how effective is your financial strategy, for example? Are you ready for, post-COVID, doing business in post-COVID? Or, for example, discover your leadership score, like we showed you before. So have a think very quickly. We've run over time. We said 40 minutes, but obviously it's an hour gone. But if you could actually quickly think about one of your customers' challenges that you thought of before, and actually think how you can actually create that into a challenge and then create that into an assessment. So go ahead and have a quick brainstorm and see how you could actually do that. Here is a couple of examples in my scorecard for the exhibition business. I've got how likely are you to succeed at your next exhibition? And when you ask these questions, what it does, it actually arouses curiosity, okay? And we use these in our exhibition processes always in the engagement process. So we have obviously a lot of people roaming the halls when they go to exhibitions, and 80% of the exhibitors will all say something about their business, how fabulous they are, what they can actually deliver. But it's very seldom that we actually come across a business that actually sets a challenge to the audience. A famous, one of my favorite clients is a Japanese company, and they manufacture needles, and that needles that deliver drugs into people's arms. So a very painful, product. So what we did, we looked at, what kind of challenge could we set their audience, and they were looking for drug developers to come onto their booth. And we came up with a question, which was, how important is patient comfort to your drug development? So, okay, so we want to make sure that when they develop drugs, that they can actually deliver them in a painless way. And what happened was people were stopping by at the booth and actually saying, that's quite an interesting question. So tell me a bit more. And that's what I mean by arousing curiosity. So when you say discover we naturally become curious. So it's a really good way of grabbing attention and getting people to think about what you're asking and get them to take action. I hope you found that useful. So just to close off our presentation, we are at the end now, so sorry to keep you for 20 more minutes. But to close off, what we'd like you to do is you can take our 5-minute how engaged are your sales leads. Okay, it's on our website at the front, or there's a link here that Sean will actually send you these slides. And what you'll be able to do is, again, there's 40 questions, and you will actually see where the gaps are in your engagement process. And then if you take the assessment, what you will do is you'll actually qualify for a free 1-hour workshop that we will actually run for you to actually evaluate your current lead generation strategy, and actually we will actually give you a personalized action plan. Okay, so we're willing to spend 1 hour with you if you can spend 2 minutes taking our questionnaire on our website. And I think that's a good trade-off, Mike.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, so that offer is open to everyone. So please go ahead and take that, and we will actually take our time and give you a personalized action plan on how you can actually use assessments and interactive strategies to help you improve your lead engagement. So yeah, so our contact details are here. It's been an absolute pleasure delivering this to everyone, and thank you so much. It is great to see that everybody has held on for the full hour, and we hope that you found some useful content from it, and you had some food for thought, and you can take some nuggets of information and actually apply it to your own businesses. Mike, any final words from you?
No, that's it. Thanks everyone for sticking with us. Here for a couple of minutes if anyone has any final questions, but if not, thanks so much for your time.
Great stuff. Yeah, if you have any questions, yeah, please pop them on. We'll wait for a couple of minutes for you.
Thanks, everyone. Just a huge thanks to Mike, to Lee, to E5 Interactive, and thank you to all of you for joining us.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
John.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Excellent. Thanks so much for that, Sean. We'll send some stuff over to you and speak to you soon.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
See you later. Bye.